channel's starting to be a little bit of a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're going to get around here. All right, so this is Prism200 from a company called Retocolor. Is it Reto? I don't know. It looks like Retocolor, but they forgot the second R in retro. Either way, this was in the new arrivals on Freestyle. I don't know, you know, we've been looking at some new color films, but I didn't really have very high expectations considering some of the newer films we've been looking at on this channel. Ilfacolor, Opticolor. What was the other new one we looked at recently though? Oh, Phoenix 2. That's what it was. So, you know, I just like, I haven't been that impressed. The only one that I have really enjoyed is the Kodacolor 200, but we all know that might be something else in disguise. So I didn't know what to think of this stuff. I don't know anything about the company. To be honest, though, if Kodacolor 200 is my #1 current favorite film, I think I would put this Prism 200 stuff right under it. No joke. I mean, I was really into it. I know we don't have much gnarliness in this one, because after I loaded it up, I got booked on a couple jobs back to back last week. So, but the cool thing is they're kind of interesting, kind of random BTS shots and stuff, you know, and my favorite was this weird abandoned building way up in Oxnard. Oh boy, that was a journey. Luckily, production gave us mileage on that one. It was quite brutal out there. Of a journey to get there, I will say that. It's pretty far north of LA, but this old abandoned warehouse, or I don't even know if this was an old nuclear plant or what. It was directly on the beach. It was gnarly. And it was one of those places where you felt like, is this place still in operation? Because they had a guy guarding the gate to get in. But then while you're in there walking around, you're just like, it just feels like they just left it. And they might have left it a long time ago. Like it's just untouched. This office was the coolest thing to me. And it just like, I don't know, it just had that weird empty vibe to it. So yeah, I thought this would be a great example to see what this Prism 200 stuff is all about. And you know, maybe it's a little unfair of me with the Opticolor. There's another new one that I just shot today, and it's like, maybe you could argue that because I'm out doing gnarly street and just really chaotic on my skateboard and stuff, where maybe you would say like, oh, this is a horrible representation of the film. And I would probably agree with that. But in circumstances like this, it's like, yeah, no, this might be more of the relaxed, acceptable way of you know, quote unquote testing film or something. But, you know, I'm just going to use it as I live, you know. I'm always loading cartridges into the camera and then away we go. But I think now that we're winding down with the latest new arrivals of the year, at least on Freestyle and even some of the reissues as well, that's all winding down. And now I think I can get out there and find some old expired color films and some recommendations. So if you got some favorites or whatever, drop it. There's even someone that hit me up that is nearby, and they have some Kodachrome 25. So I can't wait to link up with them and try that stuff out. And I don't know, that's going to be a journey just developing that stuff, I imagine. I think there is still a mid-level of grunge in some of these photos. You know, one, it's because I'm the photographer, so you're never gonna get all the grunginess out from if I'm the one behind the shutter. But I, you know, for example, some of these were taken from the window of my car. You know, I'm from the driver's seat, if I'm not mistaken. So some of them are still pretty gnarlied out, but then there's others where, yeah, man, you know, I wish I would have had more opportunity to do more kind of portraits with this film. Certainly with, you know, some of the projects that I was on. It's hard when you're like hired to be the cinematographer. Well, one of these projects I was a cinematographer on, and the other one I was literally just a drone op. So there you go, why we had that footage at the beginning. I was like, oh, I'll get some footage for them, and then I'll get some footage for me. But on the one where I'm the cinematographer, it's hard to juggle 2 video cameras and then try to throw in a freaking photo camera in with it. But I have done it. I've certainly done it. But it's quite difficult to do all of that. That's why I kind of like jobs where I'm, you know, like for instance, that drone op thing, I, you know, literally just strolled around and was able to really explore that old abandoned building. Absolutely loved it. There's one shot in particular that comes to mind with the flare. All of these photos were with the Leitz 40mm summicron, by the way. When I just have the camera as an everyday carry, you can probably see why the 40mm summicron is like my go-to. I mean, just look at this thing. Yeah, it's pretty compact. I mean, I don't know of too many M-mount lenses in that 35 to 50 range that are that tiny. And that's with a filter on there too. So, you know, the filter brings it out a millimeter or two more. It just is a great companion. I just always have it on me with that focal length. So problem with this lens though is that it's got a pretty wicked veiling glare to it. The flare is more of like a veiling glare. That's what we would call it. And it's pretty gnarly. So this thing does come with a little rubber hood, but it's kind of weird. Sometimes I have it on there, but it's really weird. Plus it's very old and brittle, but it also takes up more space. So again, when I'm using this as a true EDC, nah. But this photo, this is one time, and I don't know if it's just the light was hitting just right. It was golden hour. All the, you know, elements were aligned. And that was one instance where the veiling glare really kind of added something special to the photo. Usually it destroys the photo, but in this instance, it was the one time where I was like, okay, Prism, I see what you're working with, Prism, pretty cool. And then sadly, you will see the shot that my self-timer broke on. So usually, you know, this was deep into the warehouse, and when it's getting pretty dark, I like to crank open the shutter, obviously, but it's hard to do that handheld if you're like at 1/20th or something like that. So I always, believe it or not, I use the self-timer. It's kind of a little trick I've done since the digital days. But as soon as I set my self-timer, I flubbed pretty hard. I hit the real shutter instead of the baby button down here. I always forget that's how this one works. When you pull that self-timer down, you're supposed to hit this little baby button on here. So it's hidden right underneath the self-timer. It makes sense, like if you always know to do that, but it's been a minute since I've used that thing and not thinking I hit the shutter, and that will tend to make it go haywire. And it literally broke. It literally snapped something loose. Today when we were out shooting, a little screw popped out. When that went, the frame counter went at the same time. So all that stuff is connected. This thing's literally falling apart. I broke the flash port a couple months ago. I'm just like, oh no, man. Probably a good thing I pulled the Minolta out of storage. And yeah, I'm gonna wait till after the holidays, fight through it, go take this thing after the new year, and it's probably gonna be in there for a hot minute, getting everything fixed on it. And honestly, guys, I think when it comes back, I'm gonna probably list the M3 for sale. There are some things, you know, someone commented on how am I shooting with the 28, but that's for, you know, the next video up. The reality is I'm not, you know, this meter takes up the cold shoe. So now I can't use my external viewfinders with this, and I'm doing willy-nilly out there with a 28mm, and it's pretty nuts, but not in this video. I know it doesn't apply to this video, but if you've seen my past videos, which hopefully you have, it doesn't work out at all. It just doesn't work. The 40 is not bad. The 40 is pretty much the entire viewfinder window. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we don't need to go down the path. It doesn't matter. But people that are into rangefinders, you understand what the issue there is. Not having the 28 frame lines is a big one for me, as a kind of a bummer, but also really it's the way this camera loads. And even though it does come with that quick load kit, you still got to pull it out every time. It is a pain in the ass. It's not as good as the M6. I used to have the M6. I don't know what I'll do. I probably will hold on to this Kex meter, because I might just get like a silver M4 and try to use the whole viewfinder for 28, or I might just get an M4P and throw this silver meter on. Maybe I can just like paint this black or leave it silver. Who cares? Let it be panda style and just throw it on the M4P because it has the better loading. I'm going to miss the beautiful rewind crank here. You know, I've seen guys where they take that off and they put it on like an M6 or an M4 or something. So I might just do that actually. I might buy one of these. You know, I'm talking about the advanced lever. I much prefer it over the plastic ones that are on the M4 and the M6 and all of those. So I might just buy one off eBay and then have Steve's like swap them for me, because I will miss the advanced lever. I honestly will miss the huge rangefinder patch as well. It's just so big, way bigger than the other Leicas. So I might miss that too, but I need a wider viewfinder. I don't know if you saw the Opticolor video, but I'll tag that so you can check that out, because man, some of those shots are wild nuts. Or even in the one that I went and shot today. So I'm a little low energy right now. I was out shooting all day in downtown LA. So that's for the video after this one. But Let me know you guys' thoughts on the Prism 200. Let me know what film I should do next. Give me a follow on Instagram. It's at The Freeway Life. And guys, if you're following me through the YouTube, be sure to hit me a DM. I'll always follow back. I love that.
Ain't no stress on me, Lord. I'm moving forward. Keep moving forward.
And if you have the proper luck and the holy endurance, the gods just might deliver.